Night Elf for this match, just because I'm more familiar with that race, but also because they tend to have a higher win rate than the other races. So I went ahead and put the wisps into the gold mine. I used to do what some people do, and that's like have a wisp build the altar, have another one build the moon well, and then the remaining three send them to the gold mine. In the long run, or in the immediate short run, it's not good because then you don't bring out other units that you would have brought otherwise. And so this next wisp that's gonna come out, I'll have that wisp get me one set of lumber before I go ahead and build the Ancient War. It's just an extra. The timing coincides with the Moonwell and the whole production. It's just an extra 5 lumber. And so the remaining wisp will be going to the trees. And so I put around 5 or 6, or until the food capacity is 16 out of 20. Those four remaining, I guess, slots or unit slots, those will go for the training of archers. Archers take up 2 unit slots, so I can make 2 archers before I go on and do some other stuff. And another structure that for a while I wouldn't build just because I was focusing on unit production was the item shop. Um, some of the items there might not be as good, and so I would focus on the unit production. But the mana, though, the mana potion that gives mana to the hero over time is actually pretty good. I know some other races have different items in their item shop, but that potion that Night Elves have in their item shop is really good, especially for like a hero like Keeper. Without that item potion or that potion, um, I wouldn't be able to do both of the casting later on, the entanglement and then uh, the the forest conversion into unit. And so here I am building archers, but also creeping. Um, the ability to make forest units from the trees is helps with the creeping. And I go for the green dots, right? Those are creeps or neutral here units that are easier to take down. Sometimes I'll go for an orange spot, which are moderately difficulty compared to the red spots. I hardly ever do the red spots unless it's like late in the game and I have a stronger unit. So I just use the potion, a mana potion that recovers mana over time. And that also helps. I know I have my Moonwell Zell. I know some people like to use their Moonwell to recover the hero's mana, but um, the potion, mana potion helps those Moonwells not be depleted as fast. And I'll build some hunts, like 2 or 3, before I start building the ballistas. The ballistas are important because it helps take down buildings of the opponents when, um, like, me and my ally are at their base, right? So the ballistas can concentrate on certain buildings like the altar while the combat is taking place. And here's another set of the forest conversion into trends. And yeah, they're pretty good. They have a pretty solid armor, and so they'll take pretty good hits. Yeah, it's important to keep building moonwells throughout. So um, I have all my wisps on control 4, so I just tap the 4 twice, and it takes me already to the base and selection of the wisps, and I just hotkey the buttons B and M, B for build and M for moonwell, and it just takes like what 2 seconds, and then I'm back, shifting back to the combat scene. So here's where the ballistas would have come in handy, right? So sometimes I wait a little bit longer, sometimes before I build them, sometimes I build them earlier, but here the ballistas could be just taking down that building the unit that builds structure for the dead while the combat's taking place. And for my third spell, I go with Trent. In this match, I went Entanglement just because it also helps with having the heroes stay in their spot. Because once they have low health, they'll be running away, and Entanglement prevents them from getting away. So a lot of night elves, including myself, will go with quite a bit of number of archers. So it's always good to have some meaty units, right? So later on, I go on and build giants. Giants are really good combination with archers. And so it's important to keep on creeping, if not expanding. And so and then the increase upgrade of the attack of the units is important. I focus on the attack, not so much on the armor, just because I'll have more archers than say giants. Giants are kind of like the tank, but then again, the armor could come in handy, but it depends on what's happening in the match. In this match, it was much more I guess it was better to just go with the attack of the archers and less so with the upgrade of the armor of the giants. And here I'm looking for an expansion. Um, since we kind of somewhat of a stalemate at the opponent's base earlier, although we did have it's more of a little like a minor win kind of thing because a lot of his units were killed, right? And but we retreated, but still we killed a lot of his units. So it's safe to go for an expansion. They're not going to be searching, likely unlikely that they'll be searching for an expansion. They'll be trying to recover those units they lost. And so yeah, I'll build my expansion after the first combat with the opponent, and in that combat will determine right if whether I will go for the expansion or not. If we don't do as good, I might refrain from going from expansion and wait a little bit longer until there is another gameplay that gives us leverage over the opponent. And sometimes I'll just take a little bit of risk and just go for the expansion anyway. And so, yeah, it's important to take down the expansions of the opponent, especially when yours is just being built right, and they've had it for maybe a little longer, right? And so The humans, they tend to build expansions faster just because you can have multiple workers build that that structure that they can get the gold from the nearby gold mine. I don't think any of the other races can do that. They're just whatever the time frame is to build that structures for their respective races. And so here's the ballista doing some damage. The thing in this match, the opponent came from behind, and that normally doesn't happen. And if they do, I usually have like a good view of of that happening, and so I'll move the ballista. And my teammate ended up focusing their attack on the hero, which was good in this case. The hero was one of the heroes was taken down. In other cases, it's not good, especially with like say the dead, because they'll just heal that hero, and oh, that focus fire has kind of not entirely been a waste, but like other units of the opponents have been attacking other characters, and so it weakens your army, or some of your units get killed, and then now you have a hero that has practically a majority of their health back. So not necessarily the the best strategy, but it can work sometimes. I think it depends on the hero selection of the opponent, and then the race that the opponent's playing. Undead being the more difficult to take down because of the ability that the Death Knight has. And so yeah, we've taken down we're taking down the expansion, while my teammate and I now have an expansion, so that gives us a good position into the match to then defeat the opponents. Yeah. And so hero, I know some people like to go for three heroes like swiftly, but I go for two on average. Sometimes I'll go for three, just because there's a lot of unit production and structures to build on tier two. Tier three would, for night owls, right? Would be the Chimera being one of them, and the Chimeras are costly, and they're not. They don't give much gain for the cost, right? And so I'll just refrain from going to tier three, because even though you could get an extra hero, those units that you can produce for, say, the night elf race are not as good as tier one and tier two. Tier one because they're relatively cheap, and tier two because you get stronger units like the giant. And so here I'm building more giants and another structure, Ancient of War, so I can build more archers. Because if you see the composition of the army that we are sending, there isn't really any tanks, right? Other than the giant, my teammate ended up going for air, which would be what, right, susceptible for with rifles. Riflemen can take down air pretty good, right? And so while the opponent is focusing on my base, I have a giant there that's taking all the hits and just healing him with Moonwell. We are um, taking down the structures from the opponent. And so I ended up building an additional Ancient of War. So it'd be three Ancient of Wars to get more archers out. And here are the giants. You can see they take up the most of the hits from all the other riflemen, while the hippo riders, right, they're not being hit really, because the riflemen are focusing on the giants, so that countering anti-air unit, the riflemen aren't doing what they're strongest at, right, and taking down those air units. And the trends are always a good thing to have. They provide extra tank, right? So we have the giant, now we have more trends, and that is more than enough tank for the army. Yeah, and the nice thing about having those potions that give mana over time is that the trend ability can be used more times than otherwise. So here my teammate kind of went away for a bit. I was busy building units and did not notice that right away. But yeah, it's good to pay attention what your teammate's doing. Oftentimes they won't communicate, but watching their actions gives you a hint of what you might want to do. But he comes back, right, and so I come back. I decide not to leave after all because he came back into the opponent's base to finish him off. And so the opponent's teammate is gonna try to make a last final comeback or counter. You can see he brought some units, a decent amount of units. But again, having all those like the tanks and then the range attack from the archers, right, are gonna be helpful here. And so pretty much the the opponent's army that he took, he teleported into his teammate, wasn't able to counter, and after that, it's pretty much a win. Hope you like it. Bye.